I'm David Stiller. Together with my wife Evelyn, we founded Opportunity International Canada. The story starts well before that. And that the formalization of the organization was in 1998. But I go back into when I was in grade 6. I came across 2 little books in the school library, one on Mongolia and one on Afghanistan. And as I read them, passion began to stir, and I really wanted to be part of that world. Got distracted over the years, went into another career, did my graduate studies in healthcare administration. But always in the background was this need to engage, and so in the mid-'80s I joined the Board of World Relief, and we did a project with 96 wells in Mali, West Africa. There I would sleep in the villages, I would eat with the villagers, and it just, it was, and then I'd have to come home and do business. Like that was such an irritating thing. Then our daughter, Jilly, died by suicide in 1987. And believe me, our world crashed. 6 months after that, I had to go back to Mali for the final evaluation of the wells project. The crew there, who had become dear friends, had heard of Jilly's death, and they met me that evening that we arrived up at the work site up in Mopti, Mali. And it's hard to describe the scene of comfort. There were 7 of them. Each held me gently, talking to me about something I have no idea about. And when I was halfway through, I remembered reading the statistic that 20% of their kids died before they were 5. So every one of these people had lost kids to death. And they were such a comfort to me. But it kind of sealed my future, our future in a way, because I knew I had to be engaged there. When I was there, and this is where microfinance starts in, I was to the marketplace and sat by a burnt out charcoal fire pit while a guy just took all the slag off of an image that he had made in brass. And we got talking about his life and the struggles he was having, and he said the real challenge was getting the money together for this project. It cost him $15. Well, from his business, and his business was he'd found a shovel, so he would dig ditches for people if they needed some digging, and he'd make a little bit, and he borrowed from his family, and then he borrowed from a street lender. And that was not a good experience for him. He was really concerned about that. I then got I ended up paying double him for that piece, and I have it here at home. But I began to realize, as I sat in that market, that is there a need here? And so I asked him, and he said, yeah, every one of these. And we were beside the market, and there were dozens and dozens of little vendors. He said, every one of them have the same challenge. And just the light went on, you know, and I didn't know about the microfinance industry at all. But so I started at the bottom. It was the bottom that ignited my passion for that, which became Opportunity International. My first real encounter with a client, reminds me of this story, was in Bangladesh in '96. And the loan officer took me out into a slum area, a very poor area, to show me a client, and wandered through this labyrinth of little houses and finally came to this gentleman's place. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, pounded on the door. Finally he heard him wake up and growl, and he came out, and it was clear the guy was blind. He'd had chicken pox or smallpox when he was a kid, and his face was all pocked, including his eyes. And he was a little short fellow, like I'm short, so he was shorter than I am. And so the loan officer said, tell us about your children. Well, his girl had just graduated from university, and the other one was going into university. So how did you do this? Well, he had heard that a church near there had a loan program. So he went and got a loan because he could play a keyboard, and he bought a little electronic kind of organ piano and a long extension cord. And he started playing at celebrations, at parties, at weddings, and this story of a man in the slums of Bangalore, blind, raising children, putting them through university. I mean, this has got to be a winner. Like, that was in '96. So that story always was kind of the watermark that would just keep pulling me forward. This little blind man, slums of Bangalore, putting his daughters through university. Doesn't get any better than that.